Hello everybody and welcome back. I am KRX and this is a sort of a buyer's guide and overview for the Green Cities DLC for Cities Skylines. So here we're going to show everything that you get with Green Cities, and so that you can make a decision about whether you want it or not, right? So we're going to show you all of the assets that you get, all the ploppables that you get, all the new buildings that you get, all the gameplay changes, the maps and the scenarios and such. We're just going to do a quick overview here. And here is DLC Town, Green City version. Everything you see here is added with the Green Cities industry, except for that wind turbine is added with the base game, and of course the roads and such. Lots of places to visit in DLC Town, Green City Edition here. Let's take a look at the unique buildings that we get. So we get 6 unique buildings. We get this nice little sort of garden pyramid building. Sims visit these just like they visit all the other unique buildings, and they give off, you know, they're for tourism, increasing the attractiveness of the city and so on and so forth. This is a very nice little redwood park. The lungs of the city is so it's called. Then we have the Climate Research Center. Fantastic thing to do out in the boonies, on a hill or something maybe. Climate Research Center is really cool. Then we have the sort of a bee haven, the B&B haven or something like that. We got some little beehives here, and you know, blooming trees, and I guess birds that hang out here or something. I don't know. Just a little interesting little park all about beekeeping. Then we have this giant park over here, which is actually really cool. This is the Grand Park, sort of like the Grand Central Park, inspired by. We got the road that actually, this road is actually part of it. And this is one park here, so it's a massive thing. It's pretty large, but it really does fill those sort of, you know, you can definitely do kind of a New York style Grand Central Park with this. You got a nice little amphitheater here, and some other little, very highly detailed little bits and stuff. And the road is totally functional, so people that can hook into your network and people can drive through that. Totally works. Totally works. Those are the 5 unique buildings. The last unique building is actually over here. It's this sort of floating gardens. Like, man, these, what I will say is the Green City stuff is just really highly detailed. I mean, look at the textures on that. On the hardwood flooring in there, and the paneling, the wood paneling in the bushes and everything. Really high detail, right? Really high detail stuff. A little pier. That's kind of a cool little unique building as well. The cool thing about Green Cities, and the reason why this DLC has so much stuff, definitely gives you probably the most stuff, like just raw content. And that's because it affects almost every single aspect of the game. Here are the 3 different, you get new power options. You get this geothermal ocean or ocean thermal plant. You get the solar updraft tower, which I think is fantastic. You get the actual geothermal plant here. These are 3 different power, sort of Green City inspired power plants that you now can use in your city, and I think they're fantastic. I actually really like using both of these ones. And we've even used the ocean thermal plant before a couple times. The monument that you get is the ultimate recycling plant. This thing has a huge capacity for garbage trucks, and it also produces raw materials like regular recycling that's added with Green Cities, and then also produces power too. So this is just like the ultra super duper garbage eliminator. Has a huge amount of processing capacity as well. I think it's 1 million units per week. Here's the recycling that you get. So again, we have more waste options, right? We have more waste options with this. This is just the recycling center, which consumes garbage like an incinerator. You get it right away, which is also really nice. You don't have to wait till you have a larger city. You get this right when you get the landfills, so you can immediately go green. And the other cool thing is this produces, the garbage trucks that come into this actually produce raw materials. Like this actually, like recycling actually creates raw material product that can go to the industry or be exported for money. This is just a different kind of bus depot. So now we have biodiesel buses as well that are a little bit less noisy, essentially, is what it comes down to. So just different, slightly different looking buses that we can use with that different version of the depot. We have some new health items, new health ploppables. We have the gymnasium. These 3 buildings here boost the health of the surrounding Sims. So we have the gymnasium, which is actually really, really snazzy looking. Really, really cool. We have the community pool. Someone's actually looks like they're sort of walking across it with their cane. That's kind of crazy. So we have the community pool, we have someone doing laps, and then we have just people visiting it. And then we have the yoga garden, which is actually incredibly expensive to buy and upkeep. It's crazy. This thing's like 80,000 simoleons. And it also, I think it's like almost 2,000 a week to maintain this thing. But it sure does look nice. Sure does look nice. We have new education buildings. So this is a new elementary school called the Community School, which looks fantastic. We have a new high school, the Creative Institute, like Art Institute, the Creative Art Institute. This works as a high school, but can be kind of used as like a, you can kind of pretend that it's maybe, you know, an art college or something like that as well. Here is the actual new university that we get, the MTI, Modern Technology Institute, a play on MIT there. And this one's actually pretty snazzy looking as well, much larger and more grand than the base one. Definitely gives you, you look at it, you instantly know this is a university, which is really cool. So I think those are all the ploppables, right? We got new schooling, new health stuff, the unique buildings, the new sort of waste stuff, the new bus. Oh no, we got water treatment as well. So we have some new things for water treatment. These are outflows like the normal ones, but they're slightly more green. These are water treatment plants that essentially emit no pollution at all. I think it's like a very small amount, but it's essentially undetectable. You could basically drink, the Sims can drink this water and it's fine, which is great. So it's even more clean than the water treatment plants that you get in the base game. These actually, in case this isn't enough, these actually collect garbage from the actual water as it flows by. So these are little garbage collection bits, and they actually look really, really nice. Really, really nice. Again, everything in this is very high detail. Very high detailed. So the other huge thing that you get, you know, you can see these little different communities here, is you get more specialized zoning. So we have to go all the way back to After Dark to be able to like look at, you know, an example of specialized zoning like the leisure and the tourism, right? Now we have specialized zoning for offices. So these are like large IT, you know, this is called the IT cluster, and these are essentially large IT buildings, very tall skyscrapers for office specialization. So these replace the normal offices if you specialize these districts to be IT. And they look incredible. Admittedly, the way that I put them out here doesn't look particularly good. You wanted to use these kind of sparingly, I think. But we can see that, I mean, just the, like, look at the detail for crying. Look at this building right here. Look, it's even got like different levels and stuff. I mean, it's just crazy looking. Really neat stuff. Really, really cool stuff. Really, really high detail. I mean, this is the biggest building in the game right here, essentially. You know, the base game doesn't give you skyscrapers that look like this. They're much more passive, the ones in the base game, even if you can get them to level 3. These ones right here just instantly look amazing. And just some really awesome buildings. Lots of cool buildings that are added with that. New commercial specialization. This is local produce. This is essentially like farmers markets, Whole Foods, sort of little coffee shop, organic coffee shops, and sort of that kind of whole vibe. You know, charging for electric vehicles, just kind of, you know, those kind of things, right? Healthy weeds, right? Go get your healthy weeds, and your something oats and all kinds of things, right? So this is all just kind of the different kind of assets that you can get. This is great for creating sort of like a little like grocery store kind of a commercial area, right? Because the commercial, sometimes it's very shopper centric, and this is very kind of food centric. Now, obviously this goes like very extreme in terms of a grocery shopping area. These are like, you know, the public market. These are like really fancy, sort of high class grocery stores, but still it creates that kind of a feel, right? You do have these really cool ones that are just sort of farmers market vibes, you know, little produce stands and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. I love using this stuff. I like putting it next to my residential. It doesn't make a lot of noise, and it makes thematic sense. You know, that's where people go to get their groceries. Speaking of residential, we actually have different specialized residential for the first time ever as well. So offices, we have the first time we can specialize offices and the first time we can specialize residential. These are the eco high dense residential buildings. Look at these things. These aren't even max level. These are sort of like level 2 or level 3. Look at the detail. I mean, these things are so cool. The high level ones are just super futuristic looking. But these are some really sleek, really snazzy looking stuff. I mean, you know, I'm not sure if there's really too many cities in the world that are going to have buildings like this, but, you know, like Portland might have a few, Denver might have a few, San Francisco might have some. I mean, just that kind of a vibe, right? They give off this kind of a modern sort of architecture and also with sustainability in mind and sort of that kind of a design. Really, really nice stuff. Really, really fun to put some of those in. You don't want to overdo it with those, but it looks pretty good. Then we have low dense, of course, right? If we can specialize our high dense, we could also specialize our low dense. So here's our low dense. Wow, these actually look pretty neat. I really like these. They look very samey. They're very, if you get down close, they're different buildings. Like this is a fundamentally different building than this, which is fundamentally different than this, which is fundamentally different than this. You know what I mean? But they do, from afar, they look kind of samey. And I think that actually accomplishes something really great. I think that actually makes it feel more like a real neighborhood, because real neighborhoods do have the blueprint sort of copy and pasted a bunch of times, right? So I think this is actually really fantastic. I think these assets are cool. They're meant to be, you know, sustainable housing. So they use less energy and less water, but they also pay less in taxes. It's kind of the gameplay there, which isn't really anything to consider. It's all about the aesthetics. All about the aesthetics. So that's all the things that you get in green cities, which is absolutely nuts. Let's take a look at the policies. We get recycling plastic, so we can make recycling centers a little bit more efficient. And we also get filter industrial waste. Basically means the industrial areas pollute less. We have electric cars, so we can actually force people to use electric cars, and we can also ban combustion engines, which I believe only affects noise pollution in the area. So it reduces the traffic noise essentially in the policy area. So you can actually go full electric cars, which is kind of interesting, or just, you know, say that these people here that live in Victoria Park, they can only have electric cars, you know, and then you give them this kind of like local produce over here, so they have places to charge their electric cars and stuff like that. They could probably charge it at home too. So that is going to be the green cities, all the zoning assets, all of the ploppables, and there is a lot of stuff here. I mean, this is definitely looking full. There's a lot of goodness here. Let's go take a look at the scenario list really quick, and then we'll take a look at all the maps. All right, let's take a look at the scenarios that you can get. So looks like that we have 3 scenarios here for green cities. We have the cleanup crew, which I believe it sounds like they're drinking polluted water. And we have green power. You can kind of look at what the win conditions are here and the losing conditions. This one actually, it looks like you don't even get a starter town. And then we have City of Gardens. This one you definitely start with a town. I've loaded this one up before to work on one of the tutorial episodes. But yeah, so these are the 3 scenarios that you get. Let's go take a look at the maps. So Lavender Lakes. What do we got going on here? I think it's called, it might be called Lavender Lake. Yeah, Lavender Lake is the name of this one. Only has 1 lake. It looks nice though. I mean, you got some, I guess this is oil. This would be fertile ground. So, kind of an interesting map. I don't know. Kind of like a mix, right? This one, I think, more than some of the others we looked at, is just kind of a mix. I mean, you got a little bit of a plateau up here. We have some hills back here. We have a river. We have a lake. But we have flat ground around and about. We got some jetties coming out here. Not seeing the high level of detail that we're seeing in some of the last mass transit cities, though. It looks like this is kind of looking a little bit more generic than some of the maps we've seen. I wonder why there's an inconsistency there when it comes to some of the detailing and the texturing of the actual geography. You can see that there's no texturing going on here at all, in an attempt to make any of this look really any better than just kind of going around with the large crude tools. But there we go. That's Lavender Lake. Alrighty, this is Green Cities map number 2, Eden Valley. A nice looking one so far. Lots of, again, texture. Now we have texture on these hills, and look how much more interesting this kind of looks, just, you know, just looking at it. Building on it, of course, might be kind of tricky, but, you know, it's nice to have, you know, some textured hills in the background. The river's looking a little bit textured, but it's kind of just a river here. Got some open areas here, some larger bodies of water on the edges that we can build around. This is actually kind of cool, and potentially you could come out here if you wanted to with the right mods, right? Lots of coastal area to build on here, it looks like. Lots of bumpy areas that you can build on top of or build around. This is where you start for Eden Valley, and that's kind of what you're looking at for this map here. The third and final map for Green Cities is going to be Garden Rivers, and this is a tropical map. Got a little bit of everything. Got some sort of mountain or hill ranges. It's got these sort of larger rivers and some smaller rivers, some little lake type areas or sort of coastal areas. Kind of a smaller river here, a larger sort of wobbly river that goes through the whole area. Lots of little coves and things that you can build around. Lots of surface area on this river, right? This little interesting little jetty here. A wide mouth there of the river, sort of leading out into potentially the ocean or whatever we want it to be. The boats are coming through. This doesn't have boat lines all the way through here. It has rail. This is a pretty interesting little map. Lots of flat, even terrain to build on it, it would seem. That's everything you get in Green Cities, right? You get 3 scenarios, you get 3 maps, you get a bunch of different specialized zoning growables. You get a bunch of ploppables that affect almost every core aspect of the game. This pack really does probably give you the most content. And I'm actually surprised to see that After Dark is kind of in second place right now in terms of just raw content, right? So it's kind of like Green Cities is definitely the most, then you get After Dark, and then it kind of starts going down from there. But thank you so much everybody for watching. There will be more for the next few DLCs as well, right? We still have Park Life and Industries to do, so that'll be good, and I'll see you guys on the next one.